Hey y'all, it's Tipsy. Well, I wanted to do a VR to Avalon's tarot tag, and despite the fact that I've had a little bit of rum, I think I'm going to be fine. I think I'm going to get this. I think I'm going to get through this. I may slur a couple of words, so just ignore that, okay? Just gloss over it. You know what I mean. Okay, so Avalon's tarot tag. So I went through and I wrote down all the questions, and I answered them all because I knew that when I did this, I was going to be rushed, so I didn't want to have to think very much, and considering the rum thing, I'm glad I don't have to think very hard. 1. What initially drew you to tarot and how old were you? I've had limited exposure in my childhood. I didn't grow up with it or anything like a lot of people have. I'm kind of like Al Moon in that regard. It kind of came into my life later. I guess I started studying tarot seriously probably only about 2 or 3 years ago. But it's kind of one of those things where I did, discover it and really, well, not discover it, I knew about it, but when I really decided to put my mind to studying it and I got into it, clicked. I mean, just totally clicked. I'm sorry, I have this Conan hair thing going on. Sorry, you're getting me natural. Okay, anyway, so I guess I was, probably, we'll say in my 30s, it was not long ago. What initially drew me to tarot? The artwork. And the symbolism and the history. I like studying those things, and I have this kind of personality. I'll obsess about something, I'll get really into something, and I'll just want to know everything about it, and that's kind of what happened with tarot. That's my pull, is the history and the artwork. 2, when did you acquire your very first deck, and what was it? Well, as I said, my first deck was just a couple years ago, and it was the Gilded Tarot by Cyril Marchetti, because it came in this set that was like a student handbook set. Josephine Eller Shaw, I believe, did the book for it. It was like an orange box, and it had like an orange book and all that in it, and then the deck. But at the same time that I bought that, I want to say like within just a couple of weeks, I don't think I'd actually started really getting into it yet, I bought Paulina Tarot. So I kind of learned tarot on both of those decks, the Gilded Tarot and the Paulina Tarot, which was really kind of cool now that I look back, because the Paulina Tarot enabled me to kind of just open my mind up a little bit, and I didn't get so stuck in the Rider-Waite-Smith, because Cyril Marchetti's deck is pretty traditionally Rider-Waite. He's got his own twist on it, but it's a very simple deck, simple symbolism. They're not near as complex as the Paulina Cassidy pictures, but those pictures I think actually helped me to keep my mind open to different types of representations, and so I see that as an advantage. But if you're trying to learn it quickly, studying one deck is much easier than studying 2 at one time. But for me personally, I wasn't in a race to get to a finish line, so I really enjoyed studying both of those decks side by side while I went through that book. Are you a fan of the Rider-Waite system or the Thoth system? I'm going to have to default to rum. I'm going to have to default to the Rider-Waite-Smith deck because I'm not really familiar with the Thoth system. I honestly haven't gotten that far into tarot, and it just hasn't really struck me as something I'm really interested in putting energy into right now. I'm sure that will come later on down the road, but I'm not really there. I have seen some of the Thoth tarot cards. Some of the Thoth or Thoth. I think I've heard it both ways. I have seen cards from that tarot deck, and they are quite interesting and cool, so that is definitely something that I can see in my future, but as of now, no exposure. What type of tarot reader are you? Generally speaking, I am, what did I put? I picked 2 words. Casual and upbeat. That's the kind of tarot reader I am. As far as methods and blah, 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 I'm not going to go into all that. I honestly haven't studied the culture of tarot enough. I have focused most of my studies on the actual symbolism within tarot. So if you're looking for some sort of a metaphysical word there, I don't have one. I am just a casual and upbeat reader. I try to keep things positive. When I see little red flags, I look for solutions. I'm not, one of these doom and gloom. I always think of what is the teacher's name? I can't remember the name of the teacher in Harry Potter, divination teacher that's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not like that. I'm not looking for bad news, and if I do see news that is of a serious nature, of a more negative or darker nature. I definitely present it as, here's some information. You're not going to die tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. Even if it's possible, you don't say that. But, you know, I mean, I try to keep things in forward motion. I don't try to emphasize the negative. I tend to kind of play down negative. And do you use tarot for pathworking, meditation, etc.? Yes and no. I don't do a lot of pathworking. I'm really not a ritual person. I'm not good with a lot of structure. Never been a big fan of that. And consequently, when it comes to the word pathworking, I tend to shy away because that sounds like I, you know, observe. I'm not a consistent observer. The only thing that I can say I honestly do on a regular basis is I do tend to honor the full moon. I like full moons. I like new moons too, honestly. I'm not as vigilant about keeping up with them as I am the full moon. When there's a full moon, bitch, it's outside. Period. What else? I was going to say, meditation. Okay. Not really so much meditation, because when I meditate, I tend to shut out everything, and I don't really, you know, use a focal card and stuff like that like some people do. But when I am working on manifesting something, or I'm really, really trying to, you know, deal with something that's maybe not bad, but just something I'm taking very seriously, I will use artwork, whether it be tarot or something else that resonates with me, to focus my thoughts. It's like I'll draw energy from that card to put towards my own intention. Is that making sense? And so I wouldn't say meditation. I do use it for manifestation, but not pathworking or meditation. Do you do daily draws? I wish I had the time to do a daily draw, like on a daily basis. Yes, I do a daily draw once in a while, as in I am drawing a card for today, but that's not a consistent thing with me. It's not something that I've made a priority. It hasn't. I'm sorry. Do you utilize tarot journals? Really? Of course I utilize tarot journals. Our sweet and lovely Owl Moon 513 has been so kind to keep sending people my way to watch my journal videos, and I keep thinking, oh shit, I've got to do another one because I need to update, because I don't necessarily do all of that, and I've got new stuff. So, thanks, Owl Moon. Now I feel like I gotta do a whole nother one because you said it again in your tag video. Whatever. It's okay. It's okay. I forgive you. I forgive you. But yes, I utilize tarot journals ridiculously. Okay. Do you, let's see. Would you consider yourself a tarot collector, or do you just have one or two decks? Now, come on. I don't even have to answer this. Really? If any of you watch my tarot Art of Tarot series, I think you could tell I'm a collector. How do you bond with a deck? Okay. Bonding with a deck. I know some people can't even make it out of the store. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that yes, I can make it out of the store. I have to make it out of the store, and this is why. Because when I get a brand new deck, I like to bring it home. I like to close the blinds, send the kids to the friends' houses, put the lights down low, light a couple candles, and I will dump the deck out in the living room floor. I'll just dump it out, like 52 card pickup. It's like 78 card pickup. And then I take all my clothes off, and I just lay in the pile of all these cards scattered about, and I just start making tarot angels. And I think about all of the energy. I'm totally full of crap. I don't do that at all. No. When I get a new deck, I rarely make it out of the store, and I like to unwrap it and go through all of the cards. I don't make tarot card angels. I'm just kidding. But no, I do like to get it out of the box. Seriously. And I like to look through all of the cards. I like to give them all a moment. And then I will typically just start shuffling them. I think Al Moon said something about it in her video. I'm sorry, my hair is like totally distracting me. I think Al Moon said something about it in her video when she did her tag, talking about shuffling the cards. It's like it's therapeutic. It's like you just it just feels good, you know, just shuffle and shuffle and shuffle. I've been a shuffler since I was a kid. Like, I remember being like 6 or 7 years old, and I was fascinated by watching my mom. She could shuffle cards. She did the shuffle, but then she did the bridge. I thought that was the coolest thing. And so I remember like spending a whole day one summer just shuffling this pack of cards over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I finally got it down, and I thought I was like the baddest ass kid ever because I could shuffle cards. And now I'm finding that it's kind of like, oh, look at that. That's nice. It's kind of like ripping paper. You know, like people will just sit and rip newspaper or pop bubble wrap or break glass. Have you ever seen those breaking glass apps that you can get like on Kindle and stuff? It's so cool. You just break glass. I like to shuffle cards. I don't need an app for that. I can just shuffle cards. But I love to shuffle cards. So that's really kind of how I bond with my deck. The next question is, do you cleanse or empower your deck? That's it. I mean, that's what I do. I shuffle. I don't do the, putting the deck cards out on a full moon, because I'll be honest with y'all, when it's a full moon, I always feel kind of a little bit off center, and I like to drink a little bit of wine when it's a full moon. And what is this hair doing? And I'll be honest, I'll forget my cards are outside, and I'll leave them all night long. And the problem with doing that where I live is I'm on the Gulf Coast, and so it's a little dewy a lot of mornings. And if you leave all of your decks and if you leave all your decks and everything outside, they're going to be all jacked up in the morning. And so it's like, I'm not even going to do that. I don't even mess with that. But I'll tell you, my decks, I haven't had a bad experience as far as like negative energy jacking up a deck. So maybe if that ever happens, I'll reconsider my approach to cleansing decks. But for now, I just, I keep them in their own shelf. Like, all my decks are kept pretty much together. They're kept in clusters. I keep like one box of most of my decks are in this one box in one spot. Then I have a few of them that are in this crystal bowl, and then I have a few of them that are up on a shelf. And it's for no particular reason other than the ones that are in the box are the first ones I had. The ones that are in the bowl, the ones that didn't fit in the box. And the ones that are on the shelf, the ones that didn't fit in the bowl or the box. That's about as far as that meaning goes. So, yeah. So I do like to get it out. Oh, one other thing I do is I like to carry it around in my purse. If it's a deck I'm really, really close to and that I really want to work with closely and get to know seriously, then I will put it in my purse and carry it around with me for a week, because it's like, the deck kind of moves around with me. I take it on my shoulder, it catches my sway, and it's like it becomes my deck. So that's kind of my perception of that. Do you adhere to any tarot superstitions? Not really. The only thing that I don't care for is when someone just grabs a deck. Like, this doesn't really happen so much anymore, but when I first started studying tarot, I was like knuckle deep, and I would have a deck, sitting on my desk. It's like during my lunch break or something, I'd grab it and go through it and kind of look at it and stuff. I don't like it when people just grab my decks and start going through them. Except my kids. I don't mind if if I'm sitting there looking through stuff and the girls come around and I've got my decks out and they grab one and start looking at it. That doesn't bother me, I think, because I see them as an extension of me, and that is like completely different. But like, if poor old lover boy, I've given him hell about just touching my stuff, period. But I don't think it's really a tarot superstition. I think it's a glitch within me. I don't like people touching my stuff. Period. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's my pen. I don't care if I set down my ring to put hand sanitizer on or do something, and you pick it up and go, oh, this is pretty. I'm going to be like, give that back. Don't touch my stuff. I can't help it. So I don't know that that's a tarot thing. I don't think that's a superstition. I think that's just me being kind of weird. Do you integrate significator cards into your readings? No. Short answer is no on that. It's not that I think it's right or wrong. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't resonate with me. I feel like I'm messing with the deck when I go digging for a certain card. If you're talking about that kind of significator. Now, if you're talking about randomly pulling one out as part of a spread, saying this represents the querent at this point in time, and it's a random card that's pulled, that I can deal with. But when you're talking about the significator card in the aspect of, well, I'm feeling very Three of Swordsy right now, or I'm a Queen of Wands, then I don't like that. I don't like using that. I think that limits, and it brings too much of the human thing in. You need to let that go and just let the intuition flow. Don't let your ego get in the way. My opinion. Do you use spreads or are you freeform? Well, both. I tend to do freeform for myself, but I'm usually a spread person when it comes to reading for other people. I like the structure. It also helps people, I think, identify patterns and things like that in their own readings. It gives them something to relate to, whereas with a freeform reading, there's a lot more freedom to kind of interpret things how you want to, which makes me, usually whenever I throw out cards, I mean, I have a pretty solid idea of what I'm asking. You know, people that come into a reading, you know, sometimes aren't really quite sure, or they, you know, you have to help them figure out how they're going to ask their question, or, you know, and I think some people just makes them feel better to have that structure. I don't know. I like structure when I'm reading for other people. I feel like I should. I feel like I'm obligated to show them something. I don't know. What is your tarot birth card? Temperance, which is perfect because I am constantly fighting to find balance in my life. Like, that is like my perpetual quest, is to find balance in my life, because I'm either a mom, or I'm a buddy, or I'm a lover, or I'm a sister, or I'm you know, I play all these roles, and it's like, it's always a juggling act. It's always a juggling act, you know. And so temperance is like a perfect card for me. In fact, I think that the Joie de Vivre is like one of my favorite temperance cards. It's like all sciencey, and she's got the water and the fire, and I love that card. Anyway, I think I've covered it in the Art of Tarot series. I don't remember. What is your favorite tarot card? Well, I have like a top 5, with temperance being one of them. It just so happens that that was a favorite card of mine before I even knew it was my birth card. I actually just learned that recently whenever I got the Ian Daniels Vampire Tarot of Vampires deck that Al Moon is always raving about. It is a pretty awesome deck, but the book is freaking awesome. And so I remember reading Phantasmagoria, and that's when I found out my birth card was Temperance, but I already loved Temperance, and that just made me love it more. So if you want to call that one my favorite, fine, call it my favorite, but I am going to tell you that other decks, I mean, like other cards that I love, that I look for when I get a new deck, include not only Temperance, but also Strength. I love the Strength card. There is just something about the Strength card that it represents that just sticks all up in my head, and I love it. I also love the Queen of Wands. That is the queen that I resonate with the most. Obviously, we all have various pieces of the court cards in us, but the Queen of Wands is the one that I'm like, yeah. The Six of Cups, again, it's just, to me, I love the nostalgic aspect of that card, and so I usually like the rendition of that card, whatever the artist chooses to do. I typically like it. And then the Three of Swords, because that's the coolest tarot card ever, and everybody knows it, so don't even try to argue like it's not. What is the tarot deck you're working with right now? Tarot of Sweet Twilight. I recently bought it when I went to New Orleans, and I love it. It's like Tim Burton meets... What did I say? Tim Burton meets Salvador Dali. That's what it was. It is. It's like whimsical and warped and way kind of weird out there. It reminds me of Beetlejuice and Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, or the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I guess it's called, meets Alice in Wonderland. That's the other one. You know, it's like all of these just whimsical but kind of dark and twisted type. It's just a very beautiful deck. Anyway, that's the deck I'm working with right now. And what is my favorite deck right now? Again, I'm going to have to give you multiples because I love so many different decks. My top 3 right now is the Tarot of Sweet Twilight that I just mentioned, the Tarot Illuminati by Eric Dunn, because, oh my god, it's like he totally took the Rider-Waite-Smith deck and pimped it. It is so awesome. And then Cyril Marchetti's Tarot of the Divine Legacy. I love all of his decks, but Tarot of Divine Legacy is rapidly becoming one of my favorite decks. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, God, this is like the most freaking awesome deck ever. What is your least favorite deck? I have a tie. And I hate to say this. It just hurts my soul to say this, but I do not like the Gypsy Palace Tarot. I don't get it, and I'm so sorry. And I just... You know, when I bought it, I bought the deck, and I bought the little bag that comes in, and I bought a reading with it, and I loved her reading, and I love the bag that it came in, and I love that I bought this self-published deck, and, you know, I'm supporting the artist, but I don't get the deck. I don't get the artwork, and I feel, like, guilty about that, because you know, I've had several people post on different things that, you know, the Gypsy Palace Tarot is a very polarizing deck, and I can see where it could be. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you either love it or you hate it, and I don't like to say that I hate it, but I don't get it. The other one, and this one just pisses me off, and if you've been watching my series, if you watched my review of it, you'll know how much it annoys me. That is the Hobbit Tarot. I do not get it. I don't get the Hobbit Tarot. Whatever. What is the cheekiest deck you have? Well, I'm going to say that that's going to be the Tarot of the Hidden Realms because it's my fairy tarot deck. It's the only fairy tarot deck that I have, and I have decided that Gypsy doesn't care for fairies too much because they jack with me. I did a weekly deck challenge with it, I believe. I can't remember if I actually posted it or not, but I did one, and I did the Getting to Know Your Deck spread as part of doing that weekly challenge, and it's like it just jacks with you. Well, it jacks with me, I should say. And I've just decided I worked with one of Brian Proud's Oracle decks. I guess been about 6 months ago or something like that. I don't remember anymore. It's been a while back. That deck has attitude. And I was like, you know what? Your sweet love can go right back in the box because I don't even have to deal with this. I don't know. I don't have patience for fairies. I just don't. Sorry, fairies. Do you own any self-published decks? Yes, I do. I have the Wild Unknown Tarot, and I have the Light Gray Tarot, and I have the Gypsy Palace Tarot. I don't know if Bohemian Gothic Tarot counts. That's by Baba Studios. It's a small publishing company. I'm not sure if that counts as self-published or not, but I do have that deck, and I'm getting the Alice Tarot very soon. Very, 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 very soon. I can't wait for it to come in. I'm like on pins and needles waiting for my Alice Tarot to come in. But yeah, I do own self-published decks. I also have a couple. I have at least one I know of Lenormand deck that is self-published, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's very cute and innovative. It's called the Esmeralda of Lenormand. What are your tarot pet peeves? I'm gonna have to go with yes or no questions for one. That ticks me off. I don't see tarot as fortune telling, and when you ask me a yes or no question, that makes me feel like you are feeling like I'm a fortune teller, and that's just irritating. The other thing that is a tarot pet peeve, and this one actually I think might irritate me more, but when they jack with my suits. When you start making different tarot suits and they're like gumballs and peppermint sticks and, you know, I don't know, whatever. When you substitute the classic chalice and swords, you know, and wands, I can go to staffs, I can go to daggers, I can go to, you know, cups or, you know, coins and pentacles. I can go back and forth, you know, but rocks and skulls, and I get annoyed. I'm sorry, maybe that's the Rider-Waite person in me, the Rider-Waite advocate, is that I get so irritated when you give me these off the wall. There's one I have, God, I want to say do I have it? It's someone else that has it. Is it Doreen Virtue? Oh, which figures? Because I think it might be hers, but it's like the suits are the actual elements. I don't like that. I don't like that. So that's one of my pet peeves. Do you believe you can give yourself a reading on a matter that you're very heavily involved in? No. In fact, I have had moments, some of you out there watching this are like, I've had moments in my life where I have been really, really super stressed out, like in a moment, and I think I want a reading, but really deep down, I'm like, no, you don't need a reading. You need to be a hermit right now. And when I am dealing with something that's so big that I can't read for myself, that's when I kind of go into hermit mode, and I put my little crab shell on, and I go into myself, and I figure out my own, because really, I mean, that intuition is there, and that's when I tend to start shutting off all of the outside influences, and I kind of go into my own thing, and so I don't really I kind of ignore my cards. It's like I don't want anything, it's just me, myself, and I have to do that stuff on my own. So no, but as far as for other people, no. I would encourage you that if you're having something that you really are like distraught about, you need to go to somebody else, because you need a third party who is not as near and dear to the situation, in order to see past it to help you find the answers that you need. Have you studied numerology, Kabbalah, astrology, in association with tarot? I'm going to go with Avalon on this one, only when it comes to me via my tarot pursuits. Phantasmagoria from Ian Daniels is a perfect example. It has a lot of information. Well, not a lot, but it has some information about Kabbalah, numerology, and astrology, and the connections between tarot and, those different disciplines or areas of study, I guess. And so, I do take note of those things, and, I write them down and keep them in mind, but I actively seek exclusive study as far as any of those kind of outer realm aspects of tarot. What are your opinions on tarot and divination? Well, obviously that's what I use it for mostly, so my thoughts are, yeah, go for it. Good job. All right. Have you ever had a tarot deck that you've either lost or damaged? No, not yet, but I'm knocking on wood that doesn't ever happen, because I love all my decks like little baby decks, like little baby pets, my pet decks. Yeah, I mean, the full moon thing, that was a learning experience. Thankfully, none of my decks were ruined, but some of them were a little damp the next morning, and I was like, oh, crap. Have you ever inspired another to want to learn tarot? Yes, I have, and it was a really cool experience, and I got to take her tarot card shopping, and I helped, recommend stuff. In fact, I loaned her my Josephine Ellershaw book, so that's been kind of fun. We can share that. Oh my god, I'm almost at 30 minutes. Do you use tarot in conjunction with any other esoteric or divinatory tools? No, not really. I tried the pendulum for a little while, and I just don't think it's gonna happen. I'm not a pendulum person. Never felt very pulled to runes. I do kind of like to set out stones, but that's kind of more of an aesthetic thing for me. I don't really think that's, if I don't have stones, I'm cool. I can read. I don't have to have them around. I don't think they make or break a reading. I think for me it's just kind of like when I'm in the zone and I want that mood around me, and I have certain stones that I just like for whatever reason that day, I'll put them out and that kind of thing. But I wouldn't say I use them for divination. I use them for focus and ambience. What is a personal tarot no-no? I don't know, would this be considered like a third-party reading? I don't do the kinds of readings where someone is really asking questions about someone else. We're like, not like, are my husband and I going to make it through the next 6 months, but kind of one of those things where it's like you're kind of delving into someone else. You're doing a reading for someone other than who you're actually sitting in front of doing a reading for. That's where I start to get like, this isn't really about you. You need to focus on you and what your connection is to this situation. So that's kind of one of the things I won't do that. Then the last one is, if you could give one piece of tarot advice to another, perhaps a beginner, what would it be? What would it be? Journal. Journal everything. Journal it all. You need to figure out how you want to journal, what's your approach going to be. Do you want to journal by spread? Do you want to journal by deck? Do you want to journal by card? And do one journal where it's just a card study? I have one journal that's just a big binder, and it has loose leaf notebook paper. I'm going to do a new journal video soon. I'm going to show you all my different types of journals. I also have different journals for oracle decks where I like to do card studies, and I'll do daily draws, and each day I'll go and look up that card and make a couple of notes about it. I have journals that are just spread journals or I have personal journals that are like different spreads that I do for myself, my getting to know you deck spreads. I have all different approaches to journaling. So I would say to a new tarot person, get you 4 or 5 different little journals. Get some that are this big, get some that are this big, get 1 or 2 that are like full size, normal size, journal, and then work your way through. I would definitely say for a very, very new person into tarot, get yourself a 3-ring binder and a bunch of notebook paper. Don't try to put the pressure on yourself to organize a journal, because at least, okay, for me, Like if I screw up a page, I'm like all distraught, and I have to like get out my X-Acto knife and like very carefully just tear out that one page so that it's all like even, because I don't want to mess up my journal and I want to have things flow the right way. It's very stressful. I hate composition books. I hate composition books. But the 3-ring binder, you can add pages and take them out, and it's like they never existed. And so I really, I like 3-ring binder. So I would say get yourself a tarot journal, aka 3-ring binder, and decorate it and do whatever you want with the front, and then, you know, make yourself some sections. Like I said, maybe watch some of my videos, or the next one I'm going to be posting is going to be all about journals, and go from there. Journal it, people. That's what I have for you. That's all I can tell you. Journal it. Make it your own. Put it in your own words. When you repeat something and you write something down, you copy it down, you retain it so much better than when you just read it. So get a journal and start logging everything. And that's all I have for my tarot tag. I hope y'all enjoyed. I am going to bed because I'm officially tired now. I'll have some water. And I'm going to bed. Good night. Blessed be. Bye-bye.